Hello and happy Wednesday. I am Crystal Galladay, the Fun Finder for Education and the host of Mom Talk. And I have this once a month so that us as moms and those who are interested in motherhood and those who support us can talk about different topics that relate to us. And each month I have a different guest mom or guest speaker to come and talk to us because they're a subject matter expert for a particular area. So today we have Tammy Flynn. She is an advocacy leader and she is a serial entrepreneur and she wears many different hats. So I want to let her further introduce herself to you so you can get a chance to get to know her and get familiar with her, and then we'll jump into the topic. So Tammy, the floor is all yours.
Oh, thank you so much, Crystal, and thank you for having me here tonight. The first time that I've been on Mom Talk, and I'm excited to be here and be a part of this. So, like you said, my name is Tammy Flynn. I'm an advocacy leader. I'm also a serial entrepreneur, but most importantly, I'm the proud mother of 4 adult children, one that has also significant special needs. In addition to that, I am the grandmother of 1, hopefully more later on in life. Not right now, though. That's fine. I'm definitely a lover of Jesus, and faith comes first, as well as family, and a serial entrepreneur. And so my entrepreneurial journey started at the age of 14. I came from a family of entrepreneurs, brick and mortar business owners. And so it really threw me into that entrepreneurship at a very, very early age. And so with that, I took on many different things, from being a direct sales expert to being in more of a licensed profession field in cosmetology, as well as owning a salon and spa, owning an event company, and then really specializing in charitable events, philanthropic efforts, and all of that as well. So, but like I said, I love the title of your show, Mom Talk, because first and foremost, before all, I'm a very, very proud mom.
Wow, you wear a lot of different hats. What sparked your interest in entrepreneurship? How did you get started? And what are the things you're doing now? And what are some tips you have for people? Because a lot of people have ideas, but they stay in their head and sometimes even have analysis paralysis. How did you make things happen for not 1, not 2, but 3 and more businesses for yourself? So if you could share your journey and some tips, I think that would be very helpful to the Mom Talk community.
Yes, I would say that. So my entrepreneur, like I said, my journey started at a very, very young age. My grandparents were founders of businesses in our community. So back in the late 30s and early 40s, my grandmother was truly a trailblazer of her time. Can you think of a woman being a business owner in 1938 and running a business side by side equally with her husband, which was my grandfather? After that, my mother at the age of 21 took on their businesses. And though I didn't go into the area of business that they had, because
What was that?
They were in the radio and television business. So they actually were at the beginning. So in our state, they were the first television store, the first radio store. And listening to those stories were just amazing, from when I was a little girl and them telling about the first time someone saw TV or the first time people heard radio and people lined the streets. I mean, it's just crazy to think in this day and age of all the things we have readily available to us, how that was back in the 1930s and 1940s. And so obviously I was more about glitz and gloss. I really wasn't about TVs.
On the other end, kind of.
No electronics for me. And so obviously at the age of 14, 13, 14, I couldn't go to beauty school at that time and get any licensure, but I sure knew how to sell, because I used to sell with my mom in the store, TVs, which I really wasn't excited about, but I did it, which gave me that drive to know that when we make something look advantageous to people, when we talk about it, when we're excited about it, people want it. And your personality carries it so much further. So even if maybe you're not good at all the technical stuff, just being connected with your customer, as they say, building that relationship is a big thing. So at the age of 14/15, I opened my first business checking account and had my first formal business. I went into direct sales. And so I sold for a cosmetic company out of Canada. And at that time, that was in the 1990s. And so, I mean, the late 80s, early 90s. And so I was literally like knocking on people's doors, door to door, selling some face cream. My mentor at that time, I told her, I'm like, well, I'm not really sure where I'm going to find my customers. She handed me a white pages and she said, you just got yourself like 3,000 new customers.
Wow.
And I was cold calling. She drove me, because I didn't drive at that time. She drove me to the mall. She gave me a stack of my business cards. She said, you don't get to leave until you talk to at least 20 people. And we would do that every week. Right now, she owns her own huge multi-million-dollar cosmetic company, my mentor in cosmetics when I was that age. But those are the strategies. And now, obviously, some of those techniques are unsafe. You know, we can't just open a white pages and go to someone's house, you know, anymore. But with that said, it's still that same drive and that connection. There are people everywhere. So sometimes people get boxed into feeling as if, oh, well, there's another salon next door, or there's another person doing my business over here. You know, stay in your lane, worry about you. You know what I'm saying? Because nobody can do it like you do it.
How about
Whatever flair, twist you put on it, nobody can do it like you can. So that took me from the direct sales journey. I sold for probably about 45 different direct sales companies over time. So I sold things outside of cosmetics as well as cosmetics. That way, while I was in high school, I went to beauty school and I graduated about 6 months before I graduated from high school.
Okay.
Beauty school. And so I opened up my first, at the age of 17, I had my first booth rental. And then by the age of 18, I had my first storefront. Before
What
that,
was your booth rental? Was it in like a mall or something?
a booth rental inside of a salon and spa.
Oh, inside of a salon.
Yeah.
Okay. And then
And so,
it kind of aligns with what you're doing now. Like, I know it's a little bit more in your journey you're going to share.
yeah, so I mean, I started with the booth rental, then I moved up to having my own space. In between there, I did go to styling school, color analysis, fashion, wardrobing, all of that stuff. And so I carried that into my own, you know, business where I just had one employee. Then I carried that to the next establishment that was a little bit larger. So just, you know, very slowly going up, but you really do have to pace yourself and you have to look at, I feel like things in life, just because they're attainable doesn't mean they're always sustainable. And sometimes life happens, and really knowing how to pivot. So I was a very young mom, which made me do a lot of pivoting, having 4 children, and then having my 3rd child born with significant special needs. And now becoming a lifelong caregiver. There has been so much pivot in that. And so that business, before I have my big salon and spa that I have right now, when my son was born, he needed 5 days a week of therapy, you know, for about 3.5, 4 hours a day. We didn't know if he was going to make it for about that first 6 months. You know, we were in the hospital, and I looked at things and I'm like, I no longer can, tend to my clients the way they deserve. I'm not there. And I was by myself in the sense of I was the only one doing the things that I was doing at that category in my establishment. And so I didn't really have anybody to pass it on to. You know what I'm saying? Those clients, I didn't have all these people to pass them down to or to sell them to, you know what I'm saying? To make any profits off that, I basically had to close because I rented out of a building and I closed my business. I did a week crash course in becoming a certified nursing assistant. I got hired from our largest children's hospital, and for 3.5 years, I worked 3rd shift, the weekend program. Then that's where I say to pivot. What I knew is that I was the breadwinner of our family. And so how am I going to be the breadwinner of our family? And how am I going to be at therapy? And how are we going to keep our house? And, you know, how are we going to do all these things? And so, you know, I feel like if you have a passion and a purpose, it will always represent itself if it's not at that moment, you know? So I knew that I would always get back to where I needed to be or what that I wanted to be or where a lot of my passion was. But at that point, that is what I needed to do for my family. But that is what stirred on so much of my charitable and philanthropic efforts. That's what's brought on me opening an event company and specializing in charity events and all of that. That pivot in that time with my son.
So you mentioned a lot in regards to like your journey up to this point and you having to basically manage your time and juggle everything and prioritize, but then also pivot. And I know as moms, we all can relate, like we are the caregivers for our children. We are the ones who have to bend the most in a situation, even if we do have a partner. So I'm glad you brought that up. Like sometimes you have to make decisions that it may not necessarily be the ones you want to make, but you have to make. So I'll let you continue.
Yes, no, definitely. Definitely. And so after I left the hospital, I felt good enough, like my son was stable enough. He still needed a ton of care, but I realized that once all the doctor appointments started, there was no way that I could work for an employer, even with the third shift, manage it and get all my other three, because I, three other kids, like get them to where they needed to go. And very much working at that point of almost being a single parent and then becoming a full single parent, shortly after that. So, trying to figure out how was I going to do that. And I knew that being in sales, direct sales, owning my own business, I could make my own schedule around things. And I was then the controller of how much money that I could make. But I would really need to plan, prioritize, and, be on top of things if I was going to, do that. So I left the hospital and I embarked on moving back into a rental spot. And my goal to myself was, if every Thursday was packed, I had enough to pay rent. And if more than every Thursday was packed, I had enough to buy a building, and so within 9 months, I turned around and I bought the building from the person I was in and gutted it, revamped it. And it's been there now for, I think we're going on 17 years.
Wait a minute, Tammy. Tammy, you said you went from renting to buying the building. Like, wow, way to set goals, like, and make it happen.
The first goal was those Thursdays needed to be booked. So then all the money that I was making was profit. You know what I'm saying? I knew that with my rental, that if I could have that day booked 12 hours back to back, that I was covering every bill and every expense that I was using, and the rest of the week was pure profit. And so that is kind of, the lines that I set goals for myself to go along. I ended up doing, renters and employees, renters. And I always say that when you're in entrepreneurship, you need to dabble sometimes in it. And then you may find that you just like to have independent contractors, outside of that, because, I love entrepreneurship, but definitely it's not for like the weak at heart, right?
Let's talk about that a little bit, because really entrepreneurship, you get out of it what you put into it, and it's a lot of work behind the scenes. So if you could talk to that too.
It is. And, and I think that, like I always say, that with passion and purpose, anything is possible. So we can attain our dreams, we can make our things happen that we want to, but we have to really, and I say this for being a caregiver too, you have to be in it for the long run. You have to be in it for the good days, the bad days, the days that no money was made, and get back up and do it again. And it utilizes a lot of energy, but the potential for growth is so much greater, in building something for your family, for yourself, and being able to be there, for your kids. A lot of times when you're working for an employer, that you can't be. But I definitely think that you need to pace yourself and you need to be honest with yourself. I know that over the years, I've gone to so many business retreats and conferences, and, it's all pounded into our head. You need to hustle, you need to drive hard. And if you're not doing this, and if you're not doing this, you're doing it wrong. And honestly, I think the biggest thing is you being honest with yourself. Like, where are you at right now in your space? Because anyone who, any conference you're going to, your life isn't going to mimic theirs exactly. And so looking at your children, what are their needs? Are you the only one in the family that is supporting the kids? You know what I'm saying? Are you a single parent? Do you have a partner that's super, super supportive to you along your journey? And really figuring out what is attainable when you have, I know a lot of people take care of their elderly loved ones. If you're taking care of your elderly loved one, you have a child that has significant, unique abilities. Your life and the way that that's going to look as you build your business is going to completely change. So like mine, what I would give, I guess, just a note to what's the word I'm searching for? It's because I told you I got up at 3:30 in the morning.
We're early risers and we are here. We're making it happen.
You know, a point like when you're kind of mapping out things for yourself, this is something that I did not think about when I became an entrepreneur. Is that I drove. Remember, it was just me. I was knocking door to door, and it was my enthusiasm. It was my energy. And I'm going to be there and I'm going to do this. And I'm producing the money. Remember when I bought the building, it was me doing all the services that produced the money. Well, then what happens if you get sick? What happens if you walk away from your business? What happens if you have to take a leave to all those people? What happens? And so something that I have learned over the years is to, when you're thinking about building it, also thinking about the mechanics of how can you make this duplicatable? How can you produce and put something together that can be monetized on, that you don't physically have to be touching someone to make that money? You know, so whether that is like we've gotten so much now into online, building courses, building classes, doing those things that you can record and people can access, you know, or in your business, building that model right away to say, okay, I'm going to have 3 contractors that if I need to outsource to them, I'm going to get such a commission base off of that. Because what ended up happening is here I have thousands of clients, thousands, I mean, over the years. And 5.5 years ago, my son had a full spinal fusion. His spine was collapsing. We were in the hospital for over a month and a half and home for a year and a half. Okay, well, if I'm the largest producer of at my business in money, I have employees now to give them to. But you have to think that that cuts that in half, right? What you were making beforehand, you know. And before this building, I didn't have anybody to give those people to, you know. And so I have thought through things a lot further than, you know, when I was younger, and I was like, oh yeah, I can do that, I can produce it. Well, what when you can't be there? So really, when you're putting businesses together, making sure that you have those monetizable things that are there, like writing books, writing journals, you know, guides for people, things that you can monetize on, or having a product to sell of some kind that you don't have to be present to sell it, you know, to make money off of it.
And I feel what you're saying, because ideally, who doesn't want to make money while they're sleeping, right?
Right.
And you want to continually get commission off of your products and services, well, more or less your products, to the services you actually have to do. So I like how you tapped into creating processes and doing, making things duplicatable, so that you don't always have to be there, because as moms, we do have home to take care of and our kids to take care of. So that is a great thing that you brought up. And I know there are a couple of other things you may want to say, but I also want to make sure people know how to contact you. And I want to hear what's next for you, because I know you had this journey. And I didn't know, like from our prior conversations, that you grew up in a family of entrepreneurship. So it was kind of instilled in you, but it wasn't the exact environment. You were kind of like on the other side. So like kind of in front of the screen, you know, all of that stuff with the whole beauty aspect and directing and teaching and stuff like that. So one, tell us what's next for you, how people can be in contact with you, and then if anything else, any other tips you want to share, and then I'm going to open it up for any questions.
Okay, perfect. Well, what's next for me is this pivot. So in this whole process, I had this grand plan, because I was going to be looking at franchising and a certification program for our largest moneymaker at our salon. We actually outsource and do these huge children's parties. They're princess parties, along with bachelorette parties, wedding parties, and we rent out our facility and we do all that. Well, COVID has come, right? And so the biggest money maker that is there is no longer attainable. And women for makeup for weddings, you know, when you're doing those things, how is that happening? Because it can't happen safely. People are still doing it, but there truly is no safe way to be doing makeup for weddings in a safe manner. There is not. You know, you're exposing all of your bodily, you know, your fluids and all of that. So, I mean, the CDC has already, you know, said that. So that kiboshed a lot of those things. So what I decided to do is go back to the thinking board, which I've thought about for the last few years, is creating my beauty, fashion, lifestyle channel online, where everything and all the courses that I've taught over time would be accessible. So like your closet clean out, dressing for success, buying your wardrobe, you know, going through all of your, you know, your colors, eyeglass shapes, you know, purchasing, you know, that whole end of things from the fashion side of it and the style side of it, but then all of the makeup. So, you know, what to use in your makeup bag, what to get rid of, your skincare, I mean, really all of it, teen classes, as well as bridal makeup, because not knowing what's really going to happen with COVID and all of this, I don't know that some of these weddings aren't going to get shut down again. You know what I'm saying? That salons aren't going to get shut down again. And then what? Somebody still has wedding pictures or wants to do it. You know, I want to be able to step-by-step guide and teach that way. So
Sign me up for some of those classes now.
it is going to be a ton of fun. And what I'm looking at doing is bringing on some of my other beauty experts, you know, because all of us, when we're in the beauty industry and we're talking about makeup, you know, we talk about our color a lot, right? The coloring of our skin, you know, we need to have the right colors
Yeah.
for the pigmentation that is in our skin, and the right skincare as well. And so many of my friends in the beauty industry, we've kind of talked about getting together so that we can do some groups. You know what I'm saying? So that we have all different shades, you know, to be working with, and canvases to be working on, and age groups for teens and stuff as well. So I think that site will be done in about the next 3 weeks. So it's pretty far along.
Oh, that's really soon.
Yeah. So that pivot, you know, that pivot's going well. As you know, the way we met was on my On Air Advocate platform, which is for those with different abilities, mental and medical illnesses, and their caregivers. And since COVID has happened, I have now gotten done 4 different products that are going to be ebooks, and I'm going to be part of another book. So I've been kind of trying to pound that out so that those can all be monetizable. All the courses can start by this fall. And what's nice is that I can link up with places within your state when you offer different services that are in that area. I can work with our state entities for payment that way. So for my salon and spa, it's still there, but we're running a very, very, very safe and tight ship. We just had record-breaking numbers yesterday here in our state. We had over almost 1,200 new cases yesterday. And so, you know, I don't know what that's going to be, but having a son that is immune compromised, you know, and chronically ill, I look at our clients that same way. What if they have a loved one at home? What if they're in contact? And so at this point, it's like letting people get their services, but doing it in the absolute safest way possible.
Right. Better safe than sorry, of most definitely. So thank you for sharing all of that. Like, I'm looking forward to the classes, because even being a guest on your On Air Advocate show, I've learned a lot from you, from seeing the different episodes that you had, and then just us conversing together. So thank you for sharing your platform with me. But I want to continue to share you with the group. I wanted to see if anyone in the group had any questions. So I will open up the floor to see if there's any questions. So far we have feedback. This was really great. Loved your story, and thank you for sharing. Does anyone have any questions? And thank you for sharing that feedback. And it's okay if we don't have any questions, or you want to hold it off to maybe connect with Tammy after. But we do have a giveaway that Tammy is offering a lucky participant, which is a self-care package.
Self-care basket. So there'll be all different things in there, from some skincare, stuff for a petty, stuff for a mani, some beauty products. So all that good stuff.
I'm excited. I wish I could get it, because I need a little self-care, but you know what? It's not about me. It's about these lovely ladies who have joined today. So I put the names in a hat, and I'm not looking, and I'm going to pick. And the winner of the self-care package from her spa is Kyrie. It's backwards, but K-I-R-E-E. So Kyrie, I'm going
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I'm going to connect you and Tammy together via email, so that you can get connected, and you can send her your address, or she can send you the stuff. And Tammy, if it's okay, I'll share your email address, so you just let me know what you feel comfortable with, so I can share it with my distribution list, because I know some people are catching the replay and they do want to keep in contact with you. So are there any parting words that anyone has to say in regards to comments? I'm so happy that everyone has joined, either watching it live and being a participant or watching the replay, and it'll be on YouTube, so that you can watch all the Mom Talks there. And the next Mom Talk is going to be the 4th Wednesday of July, and it'll be the same time at 9 p.m. Eastern. So participants, do you have any questions or comments, Mom Talkers? Oh, thank you. The yellow. Yellow's my favorite color. So you see a lot in my fedora. I was told, like, I didn't know what to do with my hair, that maybe I should wear the fedora. And I was just like, no. I just left it like this. The guys in the house told me I could leave it like this. They were like, oh, no, that looks cute, because I was going to let it puffy and everything. So thank you for that comment. That's a longer answer than you probably needed. Anything else from the group? Any from the Mom Talkers? Okay. Tammy, do you have any parting words you want to leave with the?
Well, if anyone wants to reach out to me, definitely Tammy at onairadvocate.com. So if you want to drop that below, or, you know, I don't know if you put it in the YouTube comments, or, you know, in the Facebook recording or whatever that may be, or feel free to just pass it on to the people who were in the group. If there's any further questions, you know, I would just say, you know, be realistic with yourself, plan and prepare. I always keep my phone with me to audio record, like, stuff while I'm in my car. Like, when I think of ideas, when I think of taglines, I'm always like, record it. And sometimes I have in my phone stuff from 10 years ago that, you know, I'll pull back up again. And I'm like, oh, I was making those notes on that. And the same thing with the whole notebook and the pen by your bed. I know it's like cliche. It's like, oh, this, everyone used to do it, but, you know, really so many of us still do it. So, you know, write down your thoughts, get them out there. And if you are passionate and purposeful about the things that you do, you can make anything happen. And I am a living, breathing testament, you know, to that. So, you know, I just want to encourage all of you, you know, just stay in it for the long run. There will be ups and there will be downs. And I would also talk to people within your community. Like, for myself, I own a brick and mortar business. And now I know that that's going to have to pivot at some point, you know? And so where do you want to look? Is this something like you're looking for a storefront? You want to do something online, something more home-based, have a studio, you know, talk to people that have different types of businesses and really get the pros and the cons from them, because it will really get you thinking. You know, that would be a whole nother hour. That'd be like an hour segment to list those things. The pros and the cons of owning a brick and mortar business. You know, so I just think that the more we can educate ourselves, the more knowledge we can give ourselves, the better we will move forward, you know. But the bottom line is just, you know, believe in yourself.
And that's so key. Like, I know for myself, it took me a while to really believe in myself, and other people believed in me more than I believed in myself. And I know Kyrie, the winner, has been on the journey with me. So that is definitely key. Believe in yourself and do it. Don't overanalyze, because sometimes when you take too long to think about it, the moment has passed. And I wish I would have started some of the things 20 years ago that I'm starting now. So thank you so much, Tammy, for taking the time to speak today to my Mom Talk community. I learned a lot, and I'm looking forward to what's to come from you with these online courses and other things. And when I come in the area, I'm coming to your salon and spa once the whole COVID goes away magically. And I want to remind you guys, it's the 4th Wednesday of August. I said July. So I just wanted to make sure that you knew it was next month. This is July. So outside of that, thank you. I wish you all peace and blessings. Please be safe. Enjoy the summer. Yes. And some people may wonder why I'm wearing this shirt. I am in a mommy challenge, and the team I'm in is called Fit Mommy. I know Monique's in here. She's in the challenge as well. It's super fun. So if anyone wants to join it, send me a message, because it's going on. It has a lot of prizes, and we have a Olympic medalist who is leading it. She's leading the Fittish Mommy team, not my team, but I won week 2 for my team, and I'm looking forward to getting more prizes. It's like Nike prizes, it's Mommy Nation prizes, and it's a whole lot of good stuff. And it's about health and wealth, because that's your wealth, so that you are implementing things for self-care and taking care of you. Because remember, if you can't take care of you, you can't take care of anyone else.
Can't pour from an empty cup.
Exactly. So I'm going to close out. Thank you for spending your time. I have to try not to make this too long. I try to keep it around a half an hour. So once a month, be back here with a different speaker, different topic, and Tammy and other speakers may come back too, because they have a lot of great knowledge and they're doing a lot of great things. So thank you for joining. I am Crystal Galladay, also known as the Fun Finder for Education, and you can find me at www.crystalgalladay.com, and all of my social media sites are on there. And then also you can grab my book, Yes, and the funds for this is going to, the proceeds are going to Never Underestimate Knowledge, which is a 501c3 nonprofit organization that provides resources for inner city youth as well as domestic violence survivors. So continue to be great, believe in yourself. I'm signing off. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.